basically seeing from most people is they think, again, this is a Republican perspective here, that this is a start, but that there is a lot more moving forward that they want to see from the Justice Department. The chairman of the Oversight Committee, James Comer, who is leading the investigations into Hunter Biden, says this is a start from special counsel David Weiss on the gun charges, but he wants to see more as it comes to the tax charges. We saw the same thing from Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who essentially said, where are the tax charges? Again, remember, congressional Republicans reacting to this are reacting to the fact that their investigation has nothing to do with gun charges at all. And again, Democrats and the White House are going to say that everything that comes out of the mouths of House Republicans is purely political, meant to damage President Joe Biden. But when House Republicans are continuing to do these probes into the Biden family, it's not the gun charges that we're seeing today on the indictment. It's the tax pieces. The idea that Hunter Biden was avoiding paying taxes and that he was getting all of this money from his overseas business dealings. So just a quick breakdown of what we're seeing from House Republicans and, I'm continuing to see as these things come in real time. That's the general sense that we're sort of getting. Now, remember, this plea deal that fell apart back in July, that prompted a lot of really strong reaction from Republicans. You may remember, and we reported on this, they had been calling both Senate and House Republicans for almost a year to make a special counsel the head of this investigation. David Weiss, U.S. attorney, the prosecutor who was going after Hunter Biden, was appointed by President Donald Trump. So that's important to remember. And Republicans had been saying they need to make David Weiss a special counsel. That would give him more tools in his toolbox to go after Hunter Biden, not just in Delaware, but in other states. Well, when that actually did happen, Kelly, it was not enough for Republicans who at that point said, we've lost faith in this man, David Weiss, because of the sweetheart plea deal, they say, that fell apart back in July. So it seems like they're not totally shutting out David Weiss at this point and saying he is no longer qualified to prosecute Hunter Biden, or that the prosecuting attorney here, David Weiss, is biased in some way. That's what we were hearing back in July when the plea deal came forward. Now it's a bit of a different tune. We're hearing, okay, this is a step in the direction Republicans would like to see, but not fully what they'd like to see. And again, as we're speaking politically now, let's remember that heading into an election year, if there are criminal charges that Hunter Biden is facing, that certainly does not mean that Congress is going to let up and say, all right, let's let the DOJ take this now. Far from it. Congressional Republicans have given every indication they're going to continue to keep their foot on the gas. And the White House, who has now stood up some 24 lawyers to deal with President Biden's impeachment inquiry and respond in that way, they are also gearing up for what's going to be a really long fight, maybe a really dirty political fight. But this is going to be more fuel now as Hunter Biden goes through the legal system and we potentially see trials for him. Kelly.
Certainly, Joe. So I'm curious, what is the general sense on Capitol Hill in terms of these ongoing investigations into these tax issues? Is there major concern, or how are both parties reacting to President Biden potentially being implicated on some of those issues?
Yeah. Well, Republicans, again, I mean, this is you would argue, maybe their number one priority at this point, given that this is the basis for the impeachment inquiry. Impeachments are not launched lightly, or at least that was historically true. And so, now what we're seeing is the entire basis for the impeachment inquiry is the Biden family business dealings. And was money flowing from foreign entities and potentially foreign governments into the coffers of the Biden family? And did that have any direct link to President Joe Biden? That's what Republicans are really focusing on here. And we interviewed a couple of Republicans this week. Congresswoman Nancy Mace comes to mind specifically, but we've talked to many of them who sort of acknowledge that they don't have a direct link right now to President Joe Biden when it comes to this impeachment inquiry and, again, money that was coming in. Can you prove that President Biden, while he was vice president, did anything, pushed forward any policies that were a direct result of his being paid off by a foreign entity? No, that sort of smoking gun is certainly not there right now. What Republicans are saying to me and to others is this impeachment inquiry is going to allow them more tools to investigate that further.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.